guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. We're back here at Jaguar Land Rover St. Petersburg, and guess what? I have that one mid-size SUV that has an interesting look to it. It's this vehicle right here. This is a 2026 Range Rover Velar. But before we get into this two-row mid-size luxury SUV, let's talk about what's going on here. So Range Rover is that premium side of Land Rover, and the Velar has been in their lineup for many, many years. What's great is you still have different ways of trimming it to where you could get two different engine options. The good news is we have the more powerful example with what's underneath the hood of this particular Velar. Now, in this mid-size two-row segment, there's a lot of tough competition, especially when you think about like BMW with the X5. But what I want to find out is this the must-own luxury two-row mid-size SUV? Let's go ahead, let's dive into this Velar and see if we can find out. Right off the bat, loving the color, very similar to Chalk from Porsche. This just happens to be a little bit more of a bluish gray rather than a whitish gray. Now up front, you're gonna get that signature style design from Range Rover with their headlights, LED daytime running lamps, LED headlights, LED turn signals. Really dig the way they make the headlight housing very small. Working our way down, all body color, and then you do have a little bit of functionality here with the corner air curtains. What I like is how they did the horizontal bars, especially with the lighting in the top one, and then the other two help direct air into that air curtain. And then on the lower side, you do have that nice gloss black splitter that extends out. As we then come across the grille, Range Rover name spelled out with the gloss black. The black with this particular color really pops nicely. Same thing with the grille design. It is fully functional, and you got your Land Rover badge. And then working our way all the way down to ground level, forward-facing camera with your functional venting on the lower grille, but definitely has that familiar face of a Range Rover. It almost looks like a Range Rover Sport kind of shrunk down a little bit. Now, as we come back up, hood, they do a great job. Nice, kind of wide, smooth bends. You do have some decorative trim that has the Range Rover name stamped into it. Gives it a little bit of extra pizzazz, something that you don't find that's like on the BMW. This, like I said, has a really distinct look to it. Now, when we come around the bend, what do we have wheel and tire wise? So what you're gonna find is this dark machined aluminum with the flat gray split spoke design wheel. If you're wondering, well, Joe, what's the size of this wheel? 22-inch wheel in diameter. Tires are gonna be 265 on the width, 40 series sidewall. We do have our adaptive suspension, and I have Steven kind of swing in, show you the upper control arm. You can see the spring and the shock absorber back there. That's an adaptive suspension. And then my favorite part is everything is body color around the fender opening, as it should be on a luxury SUV. Coming down the side, a little bit more of this decorative trim. It's not meant to look like a vent, gives it a little bit of extra something. I do have the doors locked, which means that we have the power folding mirrors, 360-degree cameras, and our turn signals that are actually smoked out so they don't stick out too much. From the side of the vehicle, it has a nice low roof. I think that's one of the things that's always attracted me to the different Range Rovers is that lower roof that's nice and flat, but you got the two-tone style, your flush door handles, and then of course you're gonna have gloss black around both the window openings and the window frames. And then of course on the bottom, just a little bit of gloss black. Like I said, it helps kind of break up the sea of this blue-gray color. Now, one of the things that I think Range Rover does really well is they put this body line right across the belt line. It actually runs from the hood. So if you notice from the closing of the hood, there's the body line, and then it's gonna flow down the side of the vehicle right into the rear taillight. That's clean style. And then the way that they did the two-tone all the way into the rear pillar, coming around back, it's just the way I like my SUVs. Nice long roof spoiler, no exposed wiper. Wiper is tucked underneath, really gives it the clean look. And then you're gonna have your LED lighting, Velar badge blacked out. And I like the way they just put the Range Rover name in that black trim just to clean it up. And then working our way down to ground level, the way that they angle the back is to give you a good departure angle, because even though this screams like a sporty luxury SUV, you'd be surprised what you could do off-road with these, especially with that all-wheel drive system. But lots of ground clearance, as you can clearly see. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and talk about horsepower of this Velar. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have hood struts, semi-tasteful engine cover underneath the hood. What do we got going on? We have the larger engine choice. So we have the P400 Dynamic SE. That's technically what this Velar trim is called. What does all that mumbo jumbo mean? We have a 3-liter straight six, inline six that's turbocharged and supercharged to give us 395 horsepower, 405 pound-feet of torque. It's mated to an 8-speed automatic, 0 to 60 in 5.1 seconds, top speed 155 miles per hour, MPGs 19 in the city, 25 on the highway, and the vehicle weighs right around 4,450 pounds. So definitely very impressive with the type of performance that this Velar produces. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire it up and see it roll. All right, guys, we're inside this 2025 Range Rover Velar P400 Dynamic SE. It's a mouthful, but we'll see if it's worth even saying, even speaking those words, letters, and numbers for the price of this. MSRP, if you're wondering, is right at $80,950. Quite a bit of money, but let's see what you get when you go Velar to the door panels. Love the clean style. Soft touch material up top, soft touch in the center. I love the flat black, keep it simple, Meridian premium sound system, and a door pocket large enough for a full plate of fish and chips and bangers and mash. Now going from the door panel to the dash, more of that soft touch. It's almost like a wetsuit material, easy to keep clean. Nice stitching up top with the leather. Come on in, you got an over 11-inch Pivi Pro system. Very easy to use, believe it or not. Even though it has literally no physical buttons or knobs, it is still very, very easy to use. You can go into your different drive modes. You can bring up your AC controls. 3 stages of heated seats, 3 stages of ventilated seats. The only zonk is that it's in this screen. Everything is in the screen. Now going into reverse, beautiful clear resolution. You got your 3D scan. You got swings the door open. And then we're right back where we started. You can even bring off your off-road stuff. Show all of that. Invisible hood going downhill with the hill descent control. Love all that. Lock your center diff. There's your 2-speed transfer case. And then now we're home. Working our way down, open sesame. I like the flat black. You have a USB-C, a place for a Twinkie, and wireless charging. Just a little bit of gloss black on the edge. You have your shifter for your 8-speed, ZF 8-speed automatic. I don't like the way there's not a cover for the cup holder, especially on an $80,000 vehicle, so that's a zonk. There is your Land Rover key fob, just like before. The button's on the back. What's interesting is you could open up the center console like this, you could open up like this, or you could open up like this. So you got a USB-C, some felt lining. You could put your Fabergé egg, that one that your great-great-great-grandmother brought to the United States from Russia. You could keep that Fabergé egg in there just for fun. And then when you're ready to sell it, you can sell it at Sotheby's for millions. Seats, the leather, simple, smooth, clean. You got electric assist for the passenger, electric assist for the driver. Up top, we got that power shade for our panoramic sunroof. But why don't you come over here behind the business end? I want to show you behind this wheel in this Velar. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. You do have 3 memory seat settings for the driver's seat. Down below, we got the Range Rover aluminum sill plate. I do like the way you have your seat controls, easy to get to. Even the all-weather floor mats, that's worth an extra 5 horsepower. And you get an aluminum brake pedal and throttle. It's just I gotta zonk the carpet. What are they thinking in a luxury SUV that's gonna get ripped to shreds? I'm 6 feet tall, plenty of room, even with that low roof line. Steering wheel, the leather is very exquisite. You have a heated steering wheel, leather on the horn button. You do have gloss black on the switch gear. Just make sure you have your Range Rover microfiber cloth to clean that. Metal paddles, not plastic, to shift up and down that 8-speed automatic. And this is an electric tilting and telescoping wheel. And then you have your 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. Easy to read, nice graphics. That tachometer over there. Surprisingly, no head-up display in an $80,000 SUV. Ouch, that's a zonk. But let's get in the back seat and see if your passengers are gonna be happy that you went with the British premium SUV over the Germans. All right, guys, back seat time. And even though, like I said, with that low roof line, we have plenty of room up front. I'm 6 feet tall, still plenty of room in the back seat. I like the way they give you a hanger for your suit jacket, maybe your cardigan sweater. You do have large pockets. This is where you could put your British scones. And then you have your AC vents and those great controls to adjust the dual climate temperature and the blower fan. So nice to have that all set up. And then you do have a 12 volt. Surprisingly, there's no heated or ventilated seats back here. That's kind of crazy for $80,000. But you do get all the great material. Pull that down. Ooh, nice armrest. And look where they put 2 USB-Cs. I was worried about that. They put them back here. The only thing that kind of sucks is that if you have 3 people sitting here, how are you going to plug in? You tell somebody to ride bent over all day with their head in between their legs? That sounds very uncomfortable. But hey, what do I know? Let's get in the cargo area though. I want to take it for a spin in this Velar. All right guys, cargo area time. You're just gonna hit the button right underneath E for enter. One thing before you just jump in, just so you know, the rear bumper is actually quite high. So that is a bit of a zonk to get things in and out of the back. But you are going to be greeted to 30 cubic feet of space. I like the way that they have this divider back here. This is where you can keep your ho-hos separate from your ding-dongs, separate from your Twinkies. You do have a 12 volt, which is great, right there. And then if you need more room, you could fold down those rear seats. And what is that going to give you? It's going to give you 60 cubic feet of space. So basically you're doubling. You're doubling how much cubic feet you have. I appreciate the all-weather floor mat for the cargo area and these aluminum stainless steel pieces because that's going to take a better beating over time rather than just plastic. But it's that time. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go on throttle in this Range Rover and see how it drives. All right, guys, we are inside this 2026 Range Rover Velar, that P400. And we're gonna go on throttle from a dead stop. I do have it in dynamic mode. You ready? On throttle, here we go. Nice quick getaway. So by having the supercharger with the turbocharger, it helps negate any boost lag from the turbocharger. And with that 3-liter straight 6, it's producing a nice amount of torque to get you off the line very cleanly. Visibility is fantastic out the front, fantastic out the back, and I love the nice minimalistic clean interior in here. And it's not too minimalistic to where it's just one screen. I like having the digital gauge cluster, I like having an actual shifter and the infotainment system, but everything else around the dash is very, very clean in here. Seats are comfy, they're supportive, and they're leather, which is great. And then of course you have that all-wheel drive system getting power to the ground very nicely. But it's one of those SUVs that it's very balanced. So handling is very dynamic, it's very communicative, and also the comfort is there. But let's go on throttle again. On throttle, here we go. Nice smooth shifts from the 8-speed. Of course, you could use the metal paddles behind the wheel if you wanted to. But it's just one of those SUVs. I love the way it looks. And I love the way that it drives. It drives really well. Not a lot of road noise, not a lot of wind noise. Handling is great. And even though this doesn't have a V8, you're still getting plenty of power. Plenty of power. It's just one of those things that you got to get used to some of the nuances, right? Like having everything in the infotainment system. It takes practice to work it. You want AC? You hit your AC button. That brings up the controls for the heated seats, ventilated seats. You want to go to your home screen. Obviously, you just hit the little house. There's our home screen, and you can slide through a cornucopia of information that way as well. So, I mean, they give you a lot of information and a very intuitive way of accessing it all. But I think it's one of those vehicles that until you get behind the wheel, you might write it off and say, oh, I would never go that route. But once you get behind the wheel, I actually enjoy driving it. And I enjoy the interior a little bit more than a BMW's. I'm not really loving the direction that BMW is going in their interiors, to be honest. And this particular one, the color, the way that it's spec'd, it checks off a bunch of boxes. It's just, you know, you got to ask yourself, is it worth the $80,000? I mean, that's quite a bit of money. But it is a Range Rover, and things are more pricey at this level of vehicle. But I hope that this has been a good overall review of what this Velar is bringing for 2026. We're going to go ahead and get back to Jaguar Land Rover St. Pete and wrap this one up. So I will see you in a nanosecond. All right, guys, another great day in so many ways here at Jaguar Land Rover St. Petersburg. Definitely got to thank Miro getting us access to their very first 2026 Range Rover Velar Dynamic SE, that P400. But let me know what you think. Are you going Velar or are you going X5? How are you spending your luxury SUV money? Let me know in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raise Rise family. Got to give it up to Mr. Flood. That's what he wants me to call him every time we work. I'm not allowed to call him Steven. I have to call him Mr. Flood. So thank you, Mr. Flood, for all you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.